the week of May 18th on the Bold, and the beautiful promises to be a watershed moment for the legacy families of Los Angeles. The hallowed halls of Forrester Creations are no longer just corridors of haute couture. They've transformed into a brutal, unforgiving battlefield where decades-old resentments are finally boiling over into outright warfare. At the epicenter of this corporate and emotional earthquake is a fierce power struggle that threatens to tear the Forrester and Logan families apart permanently. Every single character is currently standing at a terrifying crossroads, forced to confront their deepest insecurities, their darkest secrets, and their most ruthless ambitions. As the dust settles on Ridge Forrester's monumental leadership decision, the shockwaves are rippling outward, destabilizing everything from the executive boardroom to the design studio and even bleeding into the private, guarded sanctuaries of the Spencer and Forrester estates. The stakes have never been higher, and the fallout is guaranteed to be absolute. The return of Taylor Hayes to the forefront of the narrative brings a sharp, deeply analytical lens to the chaos unfolding at the family company. For years, Taylor has observed the cyclical nature of Brooke Logan's ambition from afar, but the latest developments have ignited a brand new, fiercely protective fury within the world-renowned psychiatrist. When Steffi Forrester Finnegan finally sits down to recount the harrowing events of the past week to her mother, the atmosphere in the room is thick with a potent mixture of exhaustion and hard-won triumph. Steffi meticulously details Brooke's audacious, hostile power grab, explaining step-by-step how the Logan matriarch attempted to manipulate Ridge into stripping Steffi of her rightful co-CEO title. As Steffi describes her unwavering, ironclad stance and Ridge's eventual, albeit reluctant, decision to side with his daughter, Taylor absorbs every single word with surgical precision. The revelation that Brooke would so brazenly attempt to usurp Steffi's legacy right out from under her serves as a chilling, undeniable reminder of the historical, blood-drawn warfare between these two women. Taylor's reaction to this news is not merely one of maternal outrage. It is a profound psychological awakening. She gains a brand new, highly critical perspective on Brooke's relentless, insatiable need for dominance. For decades, Taylor and Brooke have fought bitterly over Ridge's heart, trading victories and devastating losses in the arena of romance. But this transition into corporate espionage and boardroom sabotage crosses a sacred, uncrossable line. Taylor recognizes that Brooke's actions are no longer just about romantic insecurity or holding onto her husband. They are about an aggressive hunger for total control over the Forrester legacy. As Taylor listens to her daughter recount the boardroom battles, a fierce, protective fire burns in her eyes. She is undeniably proud of Steffi for holding the line and forcing Ridge to make the right choice, but she is also acutely aware that a wounded, cornered Brooke is a profoundly dangerous Brooke. The burning question now is whether Taylor will choose to confront her lifelong rival directly, stepping back into the ring to defend her daughter's empire, or if she will use this newfound clarity to orchestrate a more calculated, devastating counterstrike from the shadows. While Steffi and Taylor fortify their familial defenses and celebrate a hard-fought victory, the Logan camp is rapidly descending into absolute, suffocating despair. Hope Logan Spencer, who has spent agonizing weeks being marginalized, dismissed, and treated like a disposable subordinate in the very building her family helped build, is about to receive the final, crushing blow. Brooke, having failed spectacularly in her ambitious corporate coup, is forced to look her daughter in the eye and deliver the devastating news. Ridge did not capitulate. He did not elevate Brooke to the top tier of Forrester Creations. Instead, he chose to maintain the current, oppressive status quo, leaving Steffi firmly entrenched in her seat of absolute power. For Hope, this news is not just a professional setback, it is a profound psychological trauma. She had placed all her fragile faith in her mother's ability to restore balance, to overthrow the tyrant, and to save the hope for the future line. Now, that safety net has been completely obliterated, leaving Hope entirely at the mercy of a woman who has made it her personal, vindictive mission to see the brand dismantled and forgotten. The realization that her mother's power play has failed pushes Hope past the point of no return. The days of the sweet, accommodating, endlessly patient Hope Logan are officially over, replaced by a hardened, desperate woman fighting for her professional survival. Fueled by a potent, explosive mixture of grief, betrayal, and righteous indignation, Hope storms into the executive office to demand definitive, uncompromising answers from her ultimate rival. The ensuing confrontation between Hope and Steffi is a masterclass in dramatic tension, a volcanic eruption of years of suppressed animosity and bitter rivalry. Hope stands her ground, her voice trembling with barely contained rage, demanding to know the exact timeline for her production line's return and questioning why she is constantly treated as collateral damage in Steffi's twisted corporate games. She wants to know her exact future at Forrester Creations, refusing to be strung along any longer. But Steffi, emboldened by Ridge's ultimate validation and secure in her absolute, unshakable authority, refuses to yield even a single inch. Steffi's icy demeanor and arrogant refusal to provide the answers Hope so desperately needs push the young Logan to the absolute brink of professional sanity. This brutal, uncompromising standoff leaves Hope's entire career hanging by the thinnest of threads. As the week draws to a tense close, she is faced with an agonizing, life-altering ultimatum. Does she swallow her pride, accept her diminished, humiliating role, and stay at Forrester Creations to fight a seemingly unwinnable war against a tyrannical co-CEO who holds all the cards? Does she finally heed the relentless advice of Liam Spencer and defect to the newly minted Logan fashion house, effectively declaring all-out, scorched-earth war on the Forresters? Or does she take the most radical, unpredictable path of all and strike out on her own to build an independent empire from the ground up, free from the toxic entanglements of both legacy families? The psychological weight of this decision is immense, as it will not only define her professional legacy, but also permanently alter the familial dynamics that have governed her entire life. Hope has never been more isolated, yet she has never been more dangerous. Meanwhile, across town at the sprawling Spencer compound, the ripple effects of the Forrester Civil War are causing significant confusion and intense internal scrutiny. Bill Spencer, the ruthless media magnate and newly minted fashion backer, is genuinely perplexed by the unfolding drama. Sitting down with Katie Logan and Liam Spencer in a high-stakes strategy session, Bill expresses his profound, unfiltered surprise that Hope has not already packed up her office and marched through the welcoming doors of Logan. From Bill's pragmatic, cutthroat perspective, Forrester Creations has become a toxic wasteland for Hope's undeniable talent, and the only logical, self-preserving move is to abandon ship immediately. Liam shares his father's deep frustration, having actively and passionately encouraged Hope to make the leap and escape Steffi's oppressive regime. Yet, Hope remains stubbornly anchored to her family's legacy, waiting for a miracle that seems increasingly unlikely to materialize. The men analyze the strategic implications of her hesitation, completely unaware of the deep, turbulent emotional currents driving the women involved. However, it is Katie Logan Spencer who is experiencing the most profound and agonizing internal conflict of all. While Bill and Liam view Hope's potential defection purely as a brilliant, lucrative business acquisition, Katie is suddenly forced to look in the mirror and question the true, subconscious motivations behind her aggressive pursuit of her niece. The catalyst for this painful, terrifying self-reflection is a brutal, unvarnished accusation from her sister, Donna. Donna, acting as the desperate, pleading moral compass of the fracturing Logan family, explicitly accused Katie of using Hope as a pawn to enact a 20-year-old revenge plot against Brooke for the ultimate sin, stealing Bill Spencer 2 decades ago. Those piercing words echo relentlessly in Katie's mind, tearing at her conscience and unraveling her carefully constructed corporate facade. Is she genuinely trying to rescue Hope from Steffi's tyranny, providing a safe haven for her talent, or is she subconsciously orchestrating a scenario that will inflict maximum, devastating pain on Brooke? This psychological deep dive into Katie's motivations adds a brilliant, dark layer of complexity to the corporate maneuvering. Katie has always prided herself on being the logical, ethical, and grounded Logan sister, the one who rises above the messy, scandalous entanglements that define Brooke's chaotic life. But Donna's accusation has struck a raw, bleeding nerve, forcing Katie to confront the lingering, unhealed trauma of her past with Bill and Brooke. The horrifying realization that her corporate ambition might be tainted by a deeply buried, festering desire for vengeance terrifies her to her core. As she scrutinizes her own heart, Katie must decide if she is willing to risk completely destroying her fragile relationship with Brooke to build her fashion empire. The line between righteous business strategy and vindictive familial sabotage has never been blurrier, and Katie is standing right on the precipice, staring directly into the abyss of her own unresolved resentment. Amidst the roaring fires of the executive suites, a surprising and incredibly fragile piece begins to take root down in the chaotic design studio. Zend Forrester Dominguez and R.J. Forrester, two young men who have spent months locked in a bitter, ego-driven rivalry for supremacy, finally realize that their petty infighting is a luxury the crumbling company can no longer afford. Zend, having recently experienced a massive professional awakening and demanding respect as a true lead designer rather than a glorified tailor, shows immense, unexpected maturity by extending an olive branch. RJ, who has been fiercely protective of his own privileged position and deeply entangled in his personal, obsessive vendettas, recognizes the pragmatic wisdom in Zen's gesture. The two men agree to a temporary, highly conditional truce. They understand that with Hope's line in limbo and the COSOS at each other's throats, the actual creative lifeblood of Forrester Creations is in severe jeopardy. This truce is a rare, fleeting moment of solidarity, a testament to their shared dedication to their grandfather's legacy, even as the rest of the building threatens to burn to the ground around them. While the corporate landscape shifts and settles in unpredictable ways, the younger generation is navigating a devastating emotional minefield of their own. Will Spencer has spent weeks trapped in a torturous, agonizing purgatory, standing on the sidelines as his former girlfriend, Electra Forrester, wrestles with her complicated feelings, her past traumas, and the manipulative interference of her family. Will has tried to be patient, tried to give Electra the space she needs to heal from Ivy's sabotage and untangle her confusing, magnetic dynamic with RJ. But the time for passive, agonizing waiting has officially expired. Driven by an overwhelming, undeniable love that refuses to be ignored, Will decides that he can no longer endure the suffocating uncertainty. He takes a bold, decisive step forward, determined to reclaim the woman he loves and put a definitive end to the agonizing love quadrangle that has consumed his life and fractured his focus. The scene is set for a sweeping, intensely emotional romantic declaration. Will tracks Electra down, his heart pounding with a volatile mixture of terror and absolute certainty. He pours his soul out to her, stripping away all of his inherited Spencer bravado to reveal the raw, vulnerable truth of his feelings. He articulates the profound depth of his devotion, the agonizing pain of their separation, and his unwavering, desperate belief that they are fundamentally meant to be together. It is a beautiful, cinematic moment of pure emotional honesty, the kind of grand, sweeping gesture that usually guarantees a tearful reunion and a happily ever after. Will puts his entire heart on the line, offering Electra a safe harbor from the relentless, suffocating drama of her family and a sacred promise of unconditional love. He stands before her, completely exposed, waiting for the single answer that will define the rest of his future. Tragically, Will's timing could not possibly be worse. As he stands there offering her the world, he is completely, blissfully oblivious to the fact that Electra's world has just been violently, irreparably shattered into a million jagged pieces. Just moments before Will's grand romantic gesture, Electra uncovers a horrifying, sickening truth that shakes her to her very core and destroys her reality. She discovers the dark, twisted secret that Melissa Dillon has been desperately trying to keep hidden from everyone. Dillon is secretly blood cousins with Remy Price. The revelation hits Electra like a physical, devastating blow, instantly resurrecting the severe psychological trauma she endured at the hands of Remy's malicious, life-ruining deepfakes. The man who violated her privacy, ruined her reputation, and shattered her mental health is directly, intimately related to the woman she just welcomed back into her life as a trusted, cherished friend. The psychological devastation of this discovery cannot be overstated or minimized. Electra had just made the incredibly difficult, heartfelt decision to put the agonizing past behind her, to forgive Dylan's perceived transgressions, and to mend their fractured friendship. They had shared a warm, emotional hug, a beautiful symbol of healing and new beginnings. Now, that embrace feels like a venomous, calculated betrayal. Electra's mind races at 1,000,000 miles an hour as she connects the horrifying dots, realizing that Dylan has been working in the exact same building, smiling in her face, all while harboring a direct familial link to her absolute worst nightmare. The profound sense of violation is absolute, completely obliterating any foundation of trust Electra had left in her heart. She is plunged violently back into the darkest depths of her anxiety, feeling surrounded by liars, manipulators, and hidden, terrifying threats. This is the agonizing, chaotic state in which Will finds her. As he speaks beautifully of love, future plans, and mending their relationship, Electra is drowning in a suffocating sea of trauma and betrayal. The juxtaposition of Will's pure, hopeful vulnerability against Electra's sudden, violent psychological collapse creates a scene of excruciating dramatic irony. How can Electra possibly process a grand romantic declaration when she feels like the ground has just opened up to swallow her whole? Will's beautiful, heartfelt words are completely drowned out by the deafening roar of the secrets that have just been exposed. The question is no longer just whether Electra will choose to reunite with Will. It is whether she has the emotional capacity to ever trust anyone ever again. Will's desperate, well-intentioned attempt to save their relationship might just be the final, overwhelming pressure that causes Electra to completely, irrevocably break down. Adding a layer of familiar, comforting texture to this week of unprecedented corporate and emotional upheaval is the welcome return of Charlie Weber and young Hayes Finnegan to the canvas. While the executives wage ruthless war in the boardroom and the young lovers navigate their devastating traumas, Charlie's presence provides a brief, grounding reminder of the everyday operations at Forrester Creations. Whether he is bumbling through security protocols or inadvertently stumbling upon classified corporate secrets, Charlie's return injects a much-needed dose of classic, light-hearted energy into the heavy, suffocating atmosphere. Similarly, the appearance of Hayes Finnegan serves as a poignant, silent reminder of the monumental familial stakes at play. For Steffi, Hayes is the ultimate, living symbol of the legacy she is fighting so fiercely to protect. Every ruthless decision she makes, every harsh boundary she draws against Hope and Brooke, is fundamentally driven by her primal, maternal need to secure an unassailable empire for her children. As the week of May 18th draws to a dramatic, breathtaking close, the landscape of the bold and the beautiful is completely unrecognizable. Taylor Hayes is armed with dangerous new insights, ready to defend her daughter's throne against a desperate, radicalized Brooke Logan. Hope Logan Spencer is backed into a terrifying corner, forced to make a career-defining choice that will send massive shockwaves through the entire fashion industry. Katie Logan is paralyzed by the haunting ghosts of her past, questioning the very foundation of her newfound corporate ambition. And in the tragic, bleeding center of it all, Will Spencer's brave pursuit of love collides violently with Electra Forrester's devastating discovery of Melissa Dillon's toxic family ties. The secrets are out, the battle lines are permanently drawn, and the fallout will be absolutely catastrophic. Buckle up, because the drama in Los Angeles is only just beginning, and no one is making